We upgraded you, masterclass number one, because we're actually doing a set of three. Um, and, we used to have like a lot of regular classes in our office. And, it's because of COVID, hey, we can't do that anymore. So we're looking at some different avenues to get some good information out, also to get more community within the practice. And, just give us some better outreach here. When we do our classes, there's nothing for you to buy. It's actually me just giving information to you. And I always like to make sure the information I give to you is something easy to do. We're going to get that in a second. But, overall, this plan is these three master classes. We're talking really about, how do we make our 2021 better than our 2019? We're not going to be talking really about, we're going to skip over 2020. So that's kind of the our viewpoint on things. And when we give you information, we want to do something that's not too complex. That's easy to do, because if we make it too complex, people aren't going to do it. Also, too, we want to make it something that, hey, that's achievable. It's like, hey, I can see the end result when I do this. So when I was looking at doing a class on diet, I came across this study, and this was just right before Christmas. It came out. And this is everything I put in here right here came exactly right from the article itself. And the article's title was sorry, someone else is coming in here. I'm just admitting them. Study feeding pigs human food canceled for cruelty. And so that headline kind of drew me, and I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. And so this was a scientist through the North Dakota State University. He stopped a study he was conducting with pigs that were fed what the average American eats because their health was rapidly failing. And, I thought that was kind of, what an interesting, concept on that. So I was like, well, let's take a look at a little bit more about what they were talking about. And, I came across like another part later on in the article where he says, we've known for 100 years that it's not just protein that's important, but the amino acids that make up the protein. And it looks like, corn can be high in protein, but it's also low in availability of essential amino acids. And I thought, okay, let's look at a couple things that, that maybe that's kind of commonly missed in our society. What are some common dietary problems? And also, the purpose of this is we're looking at what are different ways we can use to, we need the proper nutrients to actually get sorry, I'm meeting someone right now. What are the proper nutrients that we need to actually get our bodies to heal and repair better? So I'm not looking at this concept necessarily for weight loss. Hey, our body's metabolism works better when we are, when our bodies are working at its best. Metabolism slows down, you gain more weight when your body's not working right. But the purpose of this is not weight loss. Purpose is really, what are the nutrients that you need to actually really get your body to heal and repair at its best? And also as a chiropractor, that's really important for me, because ultimately, what does an adjustment do? Adjustment actually unleashes your body's ability to heal and repair, and actually your body can heal and repair at its best when you're adjusted. So the thing is, the nutrients need to be there. If you don't have the nutrients there, the body can't heal and repair. So I want to look at a couple of these things, the proteins and amino acids, because in terms of protein deficient, research shows in America, about 30% of Americans are protein deficient. When you actually look more at the senior population, it's even higher. I would say, just clinically, when we actually get people over the age of 65, I would say almost half of them are protein deficient. And we'll get that a little more here in a moment. But what I wanted to show you, was here some different signs and symptoms of protein deficiency. So I see one of the ones that we will see a lot here, especially in the office, is constant muscle pain. And this tends not to be just, hey, a muscle, it's the muscle in my shoulder, or the muscle in my neck. This is more of a widespread, diffuse muscle pain. And here, poor injury recovery. When you're low in protein, your body can't repair and heal. Anxiety and depression, you'll see that also too when we look at some of these amino acids. a lot of these ones are actually involved in having your body to tolerate different things that happen in your life and actually not get anxious or depressed about it. Digestive issues. And when this talks about digestive issues, they're more talking about the things like acid reflux and heartburn. Also, I'm not going to get a whole lot of time to answer questions throughout this because we only have a limited time. We only have about 20 minutes left. At the end, I'm going to put my email address up. That way, if you have any questions, you can email me. And if it's something more, hey, the common question or clarification that people needed, I can start next week's workshop on that. Okay, inability to focus. So like, hey, concentration is down when you're protein deficient. And here's a big one, constantly fatigued. And we're going to talk about that one also too a little bit more next week. Because fatigue is a big problem. There's a lot of different things that can contribute towards that. So just I'm showing this more as getting an idea of, hey, different type of proteins here, how much protein you can get per a certain amount of food. You can actually get them from plants, it's harder. Animal-based it tends to have more protein content. Like even if you just look at the top row, chickpeas 7 grams, oats 11 grams, tofu 13 grams. You look at eggs 14 grams, turkey is 25 grams, chicken breast 25 grams. A lot more protein concentration in more animal-based diets. However, though, there actually a lot of the plant ones tend to be a little more concentrated with the amino acids, which we're going to talk about in a minute. And just giving you an idea, hey, protein amounts, per person per day, depends on activity levels. It depends on also too, how much do you weigh and your body type and that. So, an active male, 185 pounds, more than 100 more than 100 grams a day. You have someone like Michael Phelps, who eats, I think he eats about a dozen eggs a day. We actually have a patient that's a college wrestler. He's a big guy. I think he's about 6'3", 280 pounds. He eats 5 rotisserie chickens every day. So it's, to meet the proper needs and actually a proper amount that you need. I'm showing this up there so you can get an idea of that. Okay. And just shortly here, amino acids are part of the protein. That's what they are. And then what happens is the protein that you eat gets digested. Your body breaks it down. Most of the digestion of of the protein, breaking it down amino acids, occurs in the stomach. And you have to have a certain amount of stomach acid in order for that to occur. And then your body, gets used for different things. Like it's used for your muscles and different components of your body. Also, it's used for energy too. That's what I wanted to show with this slide. Okay. A couple different types of amino acids here. So non-essential, we're not as worried about because your body can do conversions and move things around and can make these from other sources. Where we get into problems is actually more with the essential amino acids. These are things that your body can't convert and make out from something else. So if that's not in your diet, hey, we don't have that building block. And so I don't have to want you to memorize that, but I have a slide coming up that shows you kind of a little more, hey, some things we notice if we're deficient in that. So these are the amino acids here that were just on the last slide, the essential ones. So the first one here, isoleucine. If you're deficient in that, you can't make red blood cells as well. That's kind of the biggest thing. So, okay, so if you're not making red blood cells, what does red blood cells do? It converts oxygen around the body. So what will you notice if you're not forming hemoglobin properly, not transporting oxygen around the body, body properly? Hey, you're going to be fatigued. You're going to be short of breath. You're going to be just tired a lot quicker here. So this will actually look a lot like iron deficiency anemia, but it's something different. Leucine. Okay, so skin, broken bones. This actually is important for healing of body tissues. Valine, this is actually an important one too for like when we're talking about neurotransmitters. And I want to get too much into that because that's a whole different topic and with a timeline. It is interesting, but actually one of the more important ones right now is at the very one at the bottom is the tryptophan. And I think we've all heard of that. That's the stuff that's in turkey that makes you sleepy. But there's a certain amount that we're supposed to have in our body, and that's a precursor to the neurotransmitter serotonin. And you may have heard of serotonin. Serotonin is often called the bliss hormone. It makes you feel good. It gives you kind of like that inner peace, that inner zen. So serotonin, and there's a whole multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry on that. It's called selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And those things like Zoloft, Paxil, Prozac. What they do is they keep serotonin in the body longer. However, if you're low on tryptophan, you can't make serotonin. Interesting, where most of the serotonin is made in the body, about 90% of it is made in the body, is actually made in the intestinal tract. So there's some things that, I mean, that's a whole workshop in itself, how to get your body to make the proper amounts of serotonin, which is an interesting topic in itself, but we don't have time to get greatly into detail into that today. One of the ones that's interesting or unique here is lysine. Lysine shuts down viruses, and especially shuts down viruses, especially ones that are in the nervous system. So it's really important for the herpes virus. And we see this especially when I tell people, hey, go to the pharmacy or go to the Whole Foods or you want to get lysine is for shingles. Lysine really helps with shingles itself. So this is one that lysine, again, it's more for the immune system components, especially viral. This is not one that it's more of a, like we take higher doses in certain scenarios. We also have here another one here that enhances learning, memory, mood, and alertness. Hey, we talked with a couple of different ones here about detoxifiers. So these things are really interesting, and actually what's cool about them is even though you can actually target some of these for a certain usage or supplement them for a certain usage, generally you can find them in your diet if you're eating a good diet. So what I wanted to do is here's actually some of the more food sources for some of the different ones that we looked at, because probably chances are we were in the last slide there, you're like, oh, that could sound like me, like that specific one. So I want to kind of give you some food sources here for that component. But there's some really good perfect foods here. And what we'll see, for example, is even though this is a plant-based one, eggs have every single one of these essential amino acids in. Eggs are like one of the world's perfect foods. As long as you don't have a food sensitivity to it, gosh, you should be eating eggs. Avocados are like a runner-up. Like even though avocados listed here under phenylalanine, it has every single essential amino acid in there. Not as high concentrations, but it has good fiber. It has good healthy fats in. Avocado is anti-inflammatory. It's one of the next best foods out there. Okay, this is something I want to get into a little bit because I have a story to tell you. And next time, I think I'm gonna leave it for next week because an event that kind of maybe do like my own little experiment back when I was in college, and I noticed like big changes with my energy involved with that. So I think it would actually probably be better for next week. Second thing I want to kind of talk about is staying away from ultra processed foods. And this is a list like how do you tell if I have an ultra processed food? And this is actually a list from BBC. So if you look at the food product itself, you're looking at the grocery store and you're kind of looking at the label. If it has a long list of ingredients, it's likely not an ultra processed food. Second component is on those ingredients list, if you look at things and you find that, man, I can't even pronounce this. Like, I mean, I have no idea what this is. Chances are it's an ultra processed food. If the ingredients begins with sugar or salt, now, often it won't be sugar itself. You'll often see it'll be high fructose corn syrup. So if you look at something in first or second ingredient is high fructose corn syrup, it's an ultra-processed food. Well, here's one where it may look like fresh food, but it has an extremely long shelf life. So we'll see this especially with more with baked goods and that. Like, I mean, for example, if you ever made your own bread, you know, stuff like, oh man, it starts going moldy in 3 or 4 days. Versus, hey, you get one at the grocery store. It's like, you know, you read the label, it's good for 3 weeks. Chances are that's an ultra-processed food. Products advertised with an aggressive marketing campaign. Yeah, you don't usually see that with non-processed foods itself. So this is one we want to kind of stay away from because this really shuts down, this stuff really shuts down the body's healing. And this is kind of a slide I found. One of the main reasons, not only does it shut things down in the body, but also too, it fills you up, but you're not getting good nutrients and minerals. It's not most of these not ultra-processed foods, they're not nutrient dense. Like they don't have a lot of good, you're not going to find usually any essential amino acids, for example. You're not going to find any really good vitamins and that in there. It's going to be mainly processed. Okay. So I kind of found this humorous. You know, when you buy a bag of salad and it gets all brown and soggy, cookies don't do that. And that's kind of gives you an example of, hey, like, you know, all natural food, it's healthy, alive, and food that's not. So we want to kind of look at more. So in short here, what you want to look at is more like living foods, you know, foods that actually were, you know, let me go back a slide here. You know, foods that are especially that are colorful and vibrant, that, you know, that were living things. And like a lot of people are just eating, you know, or they're eating like dead food, you know, so. And you're probably wondering, it's like, oh, you know, like, I mean, I don't eat processed foods. It's probably not a major factor. Well, what's kind of scary here is about 63% of what people eat in America is ultra-processed foods. So, like, I mean, yeah, compared to any other country in the world, we are much more aggressive in I should say in the food industry and actually, you know, things that are prepackaged and are not real food. And it's kind of scary when you kind of look at that. It's like, wow, only 12% of what people eat today is actually from plants. So here's what we want to do is we want to make sure more look at eat at real, natural, healthy, alive food. Simple way to kind of look at that is, hey, if this was like something like, if we look back 3,000 years ago, you know, would this food be around? You know, so your things like your Twinkies and your Cheetos, things like that, they wouldn't be around. You know, carrots, you know, eggs, beef, seafood, they were all around. So that's kind of like a simple way to kind of, you know, gauge things. And while we're looking at this, I often compare healing in the body to, you know, you have the brick layer and you have the bricks. So if you want to make a brick wall, which is healing in the body, you need the bricks. The bricks are the nutrients in the body itself. So if we don't have those good nutrients, it doesn't matter how good the brick layer is, you know, the body or the wall can't be made. Now the brick layer in the body, that's the nervous system. That's what does all the you know, organizes all the repair in the body. That's my job as a chiropractor. You know, get the brick layer to do its job. So really when we're working with someone, what we're trying to do is for healing to occur, it's got to be a bit of a two-way street. You know, like, I mean, I can get the brick layer there, but we need the right nutrients there too. And the ones that people tend to be most deficient on is those essential amino acids. So good. So like, I mean, so yeah, I want to give you kind of heads up for next week, because I know we're kind of getting towards our end of our time, and I'd like to keep these classes really short. And I do want to actually hear feedback from you, because this is the first time we've done a Zoom class. Like, I've been on multiple Zoom classes. This is the first time I've actually delivered one. So your feedback really is really helpful, and critique is helpful, because I think this is kind of a good way to reach a bunch of people, and we can do it in a short period of time. Like, I can hopefully give you a lot of good things to do and steps to do in just 20 minutes or so. So here's my email at the bottom of the page of the slide there. It's drdaryl@mccormickchiro.com. And you can email me about any question. I check my email about twice a day. So like, I mean, it's a great time to, a great way to actually kind of get in contact with me if you have questions about anything. But also too, like, I mean, hey, like, next week we're going to talk a little about energy and about sleep. And then we're going to talk about your immune system. And these are all kind of related to actually how your body heals, because when does your body do most of its healing and repair? When you're sleeping. So if you're not sleeping, your body can't heal. And if you don't have good daytime energy, like there's definitely some nervous system components with that. Like, I mean, that's healing. Your immune system, it's hard for your body to repair when your body's fighting something. So, and there's some really good information that's come out the past year, because pretty much all scientists have been looking at more at how the immune system's working in general over the past 12 months. So like, I mean, we've actually learned a lot more. So I'm going to give you a bunch of different strategies for that. So that's going to be a really exciting one as well. And these are great, because also too, they're on Zoom here. It's a great way to invite a friend. Like, I mean, when we send out the email links, hey, this is one that you can actually, you can send to a friend of yours or a relative or whatever. They don't have to be in Pottstown to watch this. They can be in another country. So again, we're just kind of giving you some information that you can use. So also too, I want to hear your feedback today, and actually, hey, like, I mean, maybe you picked out a strategy of like, hey, what you saw today. And also too, we're going to make this available for you for playback, because I know I went through some of the slides kind of quickly. So I know Dr. Connor's going to email this replay out again. So that way you can watch it again or look at a certain slide again. Or if you need a certain slide sent to me, email me. I'll just send you the slide. I have no problem for that. So so good. I hope you had great information today. Yeah, please invite a friend. Also, too, this is something that we're looking at as doing through businesses as well, because because a lot of businesses are kind of doing Zoom meetings, and this is way we can give people through their business like some good healthy information.